you are an expert on haggling, so give us some clues of how successful you have been.
I think it varies, but certainly with the telephone, you want to be haggling with those midterm contract prices going up in April. Now's the time to say, I'm going to leave if you do not, reduce the amount. So it can vary. My husband does it on cars and gets a couple of thousand, or I get a couple of hundred off the phone bill, but it's done in different ways.
Okay, and we know someone that spends quite a bit of time on their phone, don't we, Bobby? Bobby, do you haggle over your phone contract? You do use it a lot.
I do use it a lot. So the way I see it is, I'm not good at sort of being the aggressive, like, you got to give me...
Nice.
I know, but I'm not going to be like, give me 20% off, but I try to arm myself with the facts and figures. Yeah. So I'll normally around Christmas times, and that's when lots of good deals are going on, I'll check all the comparison sites. I'll message family WhatsApp groups, see what deals people have got, and then I'll tell them, I've got these deals potentially available, I might switch, what can you offer me? So I do it in like a very polite way, so I'm not very aggressive, but I think because I've got facts and figures, I feel comfortable that I've got something to resort to.
I need to be in your WhatsApp group. Jenny, how about you? Are you good at haggling?
I'm useless. I'll end up playing double after the time I spoke to someone. I think it's a bit of a people pleaser. I end up being too nice, and then, I kind of get won over and then completely scammed. But what I have to do is hand it over to my other half, because he's just really good at it. He's just done my phone deal for me last week for my phone contract. And he said, there's just a method here, Jenny. You have to have your facts and figures. You have to say, be armed with that. You have to. It's almost the way you speak on the phone as well, with confidence, but also, with a little bit of authority. And I have looked at the competition, and I could go there and sort of almost threaten in a nice way to leave. And I watch him do it, but I just can't do it. I'm not capable of doing it, Helen. I'm sorry.
I'm with you. I've just actually renewed my Sky and my phone and everything else. So, and now I talk to Helen. So, Helen, but now it's a particularly good time, evidently, to haggle over your phone and your broadband. Yeah. It'll make me feel even worse.
You still got a chance to go back to them.
Right, okay, good. Right, okay.
Yeah, definitely.
So why is now good, though?
Because in mid contract, most of the providers are putting their prices up in April, so they're just getting away with it, and so people mostly just let it go. Whereas really, if you haggle and, as you say, do the research, because that's the most important thing, because you might get charged a fee for breaking the contract early, but it might be that actually that fee is still worth it because you're going to go to somebody cheaper, and it's about giving that information to the provider. But you don't always have to do it by the phone.
Right, you can actually, this actually works. You can actually get, because I'm just too polite. Don't you think the Brits are the world's worst at this? It's like, I don't want to be a fuss. I don't want to be. I'll embarrass myself. I'm too polite.
You can put on an American accent, then you can channel like the American.
That's true.
Give me 20% off, 50% off. I'm leaving. That's my.
See, I can't do that. So that's how you do it. But it does work. You can actually get those bills down.
Absolutely. I've just done it for my mum, and I've just done it for me, but I did it in writing, so you don't have to do it, because I know that I'll just get angry on the phone. I'll just go, let's go into it. But you can put all your facts and figures into the emails. In fact, I didn't even do that. I just said, I'm going to leave if you don't do this.
Did they respond back?
Yeah, I write to the executive office, so you go to the CEO's office, so you don't waste all your time with everyone else. Go to ceoemail.com and get the CEO's email address, get to the executive team, so you don't have all that faffing about them sending you to the we'll keep you department.
What about the bots? When you end up in a conversation with the bots in the chats.
Yes.
Can you get anywhere with them?
Possibly, but I would say save yourself time and either phone up. If you're good with people and you can get that rapport going and you can get the jokes going, then that's fine. But as I say, I did it in writing, and I also added in a complaint. So for my company, they'd been absolutely appalling customer service for the last 6 months about sort of emails and stuff. And I said, look, I'm also going because I've had this complaint ongoing that you've not dealt with. I'd like you to give me £200 for that plus the discount. And so I'm now paying less than I was paying last month on my monthly contract for the next 18 months, and £200. And then for my mum, I did similar because I look after her account. And they emailed her, so I got cross about that, as I do, and I got her increase from £19 down to £6.
Whoa.
And £30 for annoying us.
I mean,
If you annoy my mum and me, you know, you've had it.
Is there ever a point in not haggling though? I mean, I sort of like I wouldn't dare haggle in some of like a high street, go into the supermarket and try haggling in Tesco's or other supermarkets are available, obviously, and haggle over stuff. I mean, is that a time where you just can't haggle?
You probably can't, because they wouldn't have, the people that are on the floor wouldn't have the authority to do that. You know, you'd need the manager. So when you are going to go into any place to haggle, you've got to make sure that you're talking to the right person that's got that authority.
So independent shops are quite good ones to try to.
You can do.
I'll tell you where's a good forum for practicing, because I know you teach as well, is with the kids. They're doing a great job, you know, with all these sort of Depop, and there's all these other companies as well, Vinted, etc. And I watched my 15-year-old, and I think, actually, it's a great skill to have for the future when you're haggling.
Yes.
Because she's like, I go, oh, that's a good price. No, Mum, you don't do that. You bid them with that. And she gets it, you know, she gets it most of the time.
So
and I thought it's a great way to just get them into that mindset that we haven't got.
Exactly, it's a generation thing.
Yeah,
Why are Brits so bad at it?
I don't know. I think it comes along, sort of haggling is sort of seen as complaining as well.
Yeah.
So it's like you're complaining about the price, and people, we don't like to complain, but that's what, you know, I think you've got to empower people.
That's what it is. It's a sport. Is that how you see it sometimes?
No, because sometimes I just find it, it's just really time consuming and it's frustrating.
Yeah.
Can you just sort it out in the first place?
But it is worth doing, because I have just genuinely just renewed my broadband without, they send me a letter, just renew, no problem, just sort of like, you know, we'll carry on for another year. And like a lot of people out there, I just did it. Because, you know, it was a lot of time and it seemed like a lot of time and effort, but it is worthwhile.
Absolutely. Get back onto them.
Right, I'm going
so
to
I've got 14
now.
days. I've got
I'm gonna
14
hold you to
days
account.
to change my mind, and in that 14 days, you better give me a better price.
Yeah, okay. But so it's mainly sort of like broadband, TV deals we should be looking at the moment.
Cars. What about cars?
Yeah.
Definitely. And that's where my husband got a lot of money off a car, you know, a few years ago, because I just get, I can't be bothered with it all, with that. And so it's different skills for different things. So when it comes to writing, I do it, but when it's in person, it's in. But cars, definitely, always.
How much is about building that relationship rapport with the person you're negotiating
I think that's
with?
a lot, because if you make people laugh, they're going to be more willing to give you.
So not aggressive, really. That's not.
No, not aggressive. No, definitely.
Although
not aggressive.
I am assertive in my emails, but yeah, if people are dragging it out on the phone, then.
And is it okay to walk away? I mean, sometimes I find, like when I'm shopping online and you leave something in your basket, then they will come back to you and say, "Have you forgotten this? We can offer you a discount code." So is that worth considering?
Definitely doing that. We've seen less of it, but it did certainly used to happen. It does still happen that if you leave your something in the basket, you'll get an email to say a couple of weeks ago, "Did you leave it here? Have 10%." You know, it's like a lot of things. That if you go, "I'm just going to leave it," it will come. It will.
So
come
they
back.
will try and get you back. Right, I see some of our callers on this. So you're all going to be better at haggling than me, so don't be ashamed. Let's go to John in North Yorkshire. John, what would you like to say?
Hello, I'm playing devil's advocate at the moment.
Okay.
The opposite can happen, actually. From experience that I've had, I don't want to give names of companies, but if you persist and you make a couple of phone calls, it can be regarded as harassment. Customer service is actually going down, and organisations don't want customers that are haggling, and they can just drop you at a moment's notice, just get rid of you.
Okay, are we talking...
I've had it with banks, I've had it with other organisations.
Okay, John, very interesting point. Helen, what do you say to that?
I think it's an interesting one. I think you'd have to be doing more than just haggling to get told that you're going to, you know, there wouldn't be a customer.
But we had this big thing about debanking, didn't we? It's sort of like last year even, where banks were just, you know, cancelling customers.
Yeah, and that you see that on very quite serious sort of, you know, issues, or they're going wrong. And so if things are going wrong, like if they're just cancelling your contract because you tried to haggle, I'd go to the ombudsman on that.
I've had this
I'd go straight to the ombudsman on that.
I've had this before about a decade ago. You know, those credit cards that, well, I can name this credit card company. You know, those credit cards that give you points for spending. So I maxed out all my spending, got the maximum reward, and then my card was cancelled just before.
Oh my God.
And I went to the ombudsman and they refunded me. No apology. I got a check in the post and that was it.
Right.
But they will try.
Yeah, because they will rely on most people going, "Oh, they've cut my contract because I tried to haggle." No, go to the ombudsman. I think you'll get your contract
well,
back.
I mean, that's the case. The clue is the tips. What are your top tips, basically? What is the golden rules when you're haggling, no matter what you're haggling over?
I think we probably covered them, really, that it is to do your research, because if you've got your facts and figures. So, and it's doing things like, have you got any other streaming services? You know, are you actually watching films on Amazon Prime, or and then so you don't need, you know, something else, or so actually looking at what you need, and looking at the service. How important customer service is to you? But to get all your facts and figures, decide what you're best at. Are you best at writing and being assertive in writing, or whether you're going to do it on the phone, whether that's on a chat bot, you know, with getting through to somebody, or whether it's on the phone. But being polite and building that rapport, and not being afraid to walk away and saying, I need to think about that.
Actually, we know your tips work as well, because one of our producers' girlfriends was so inspired by your tips when we were researching the show. She actually managed to haggle her broadband down by £150 a year. So we know this works. So listen to her, basically. Right, and I think we have touched on this, but it's also to try and have a good relationship with the person. So as Bobby pointed out, getting aggressive unless you put on an American accent is probably not a good idea. But how do you ensure that there is that good relationship there?
I think trying to use some manners, which we see dropping around the world, or certainly around this country. You know, using some pleases and thank yous.
Asking them their name, actually.
Yes, asking their name, and remembering that it is a human that you're speaking to, and that, you know, that goes for a lot. You know, if somebody was asking you for something and they were rude and aggressive to you, would you want to give it to them? No, you wouldn't. So it is about sort of just being polite and saying, look, there's this going on and there's that. So actually, I think because of this, I should be getting whatever. And going in with a figure, having your two figures ready, you know, the figure that you're going to go in at, and the figure that you'll accept, and then see what you can get in between.
Interesting. And this goes back to a point that Jenny made earlier on as well, is speaking to the right person. Because how many times do you end up talking to a bot? Just like we talk to a human being. So how do you make sure you are talking to the right person?
Ask.
Yeah,
just simply ask, and don't feel afraid to ask, because actually, if you phone up and say, "I'm going to leave you," they will immediately put you through to what they.
Is it worth saying that as the first thing? I want to leave, or is it worth having a chat first?
And so if you want to leave, because they'll put you through to a different department.
So maybe
they might call it the retention department, but actually what it is we'll renegotiate your contract department.
The most embarrassing thing is when you go through your whole tirade, your whole spiel, you know, and you haven't got time as it is, and they go, I'm sorry, you're speaking to the wrong person. You're like, why didn't you tell me that before? So probably you're better off to ask straight away.
Another reason why I'll write, because you save the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not easy to find where to write to these days, is it? I mean, everything is done actually online. And so it does matter how you phrase things, how you ask for things. There is a language to be used.
Yeah, and I think, you know, the pleases and the thank yous are the biggies of it. Or, you know, can you do something a little bit better than that? Or you know, make a joke about it. But, you know, like my wife will go mad, my husband will go mad.
What's your best price?
Yeah, what is your best price?
Do you take cash?
Yes, and then just say things like, no, I asked for your best price. That sounds like your okay, good price, but can I have the better price? And if you make that into a joke, you know, they'll go. Because don't take the first offer. Don't take the first offer.
God, you're so good at
But again,
this,
the charm
like a haggling workshop going on here.
I mean,
but the charm makes a big difference, because a couple of days, the thing is, I like being nice to people anyway, but
you are just genuinely
last week I had a fine to pay. I won't say where, but I was like talking, had a conversation, and they waived my fine because they said, you're so nice. So actually,
well, that's good. I don't think I could do that. To be fair, I don't think I could do that.
So yeah, Bobby. By the way, if you've got any problems out there, just get Bobby to do the deal for you, and it'll be fine. That is brilliant. Thank you so much. And yeah, my husband actually managed to haggle something up once. So I mean, that is, I know, I don't even understand how he did it to this day. To be honest with you,
skill. It's quite a skill.
It is quite a skill, not to be encouraged though. Helen, thank you so much for joining us this morning.